Nick's Right Podcast coming to you soon. This is what it's going to be about. Nick's Right Podcast is where two Nicks, the OG millennial, and the other Nick,
Xer.
Xer, the Gen Xer. We go head to head on culture, politics, and everything in between. Expect sharp takes, fiery debates, and the occasional agreement. Maybe.
I doubt it. I disagree with that.
Coming soon to a podcast near you. All right, bro. So you won't believe what happened to me today. I want to start with this because we're going to talk about a lot of things today. But I woke up today. Now, this is my normal routine. I'll get up. I'll grab my phone. I'll check the scripture of the day. I'll pray as I get up. And then I'll share that scripture of the day on social media. And then I'll check my notifications. Okay? Mm-hmm. And then once I get some kind of inspiration for whatever TikTok video I'm going to put up that morning, I'll go in, record the video as I get up. And as soon as I walked out of my bedroom, I'm stepping in a puddle of water.
Oh, no, dude. Is this your apartment?
My apartment.
Yeah.
You're familiar with how my, layout of my apartment is.
Yeah.
I step out, and I'm like, why are my feet cold and wet right now? And it's not a huge puddle. It's just enough to notice
right
when you're
outside
inside
your bedroom door.
Right outside my bedroom door.
Okay, wait. Before you go on. I'm trying to imagine, with the information that you've given me, what would cause a puddle of water outside? Because your sink is on the other side. The kitchen's over there. It obviously isn't the bathroom, which is way over on the other side.
Yes.
Dude, something had to spill in the night. I don't know what you don't have.
Okay, I've got video of all this, and I can't put it up. But what I'm going to tell you, is. I had to walk through that puddle a couple times to really realize, oh my gosh, there's water on the floor. And then I had to do that whole thing where I kind of leaned down at an angle to see the glare, to see the water on a dark floor. Yeah. And I'm like, there's a lot of water on the floor. And what I didn't realize is there was more water on the end of my counter.
Back door. Oh, no, it wouldn't be back door.
No, it was on the end of my counter. And I'm like, wait, my hat that was sitting on my counter, the chair that was right up against the counter with the hoodie that was draped over, the hoodie was drenched. There was water. Like I had envelopes from the mail on the counter that were completely drenched. My wallet was drenched.
Okay.
Everything was drenched on the countertop. But when you get to the sink, it was dry from there on over. And then there was a little bit of puddle of water in the kitchen. There was some right next to the washer. So I'm thinking maybe it came from the washer.
So where did this mystery water come from?
Well,
Something was dripping.
Well, because it extended all the way in front of the TV, which is the opposite direction of the washer. Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking, what the crap is going on? And I looked up, the TV's fine. I look up to the ceiling, and there's no water spots. You know, what? Like, say the person above me flooded something, and it came down. There was no water spots.
Holy water. That's what it was.
No, it wasn't holy water.
It simply appeared.
No. But as I did more research, you know those three lights that are above my kitchen sink and counter?
Yeah.
Well, when you turn them on, you can actually see through the glass. And the one that was furthest to the one that was furthest to the end of the counter where all the water was, there was dripping residue water on the glass. And then I look up at the base of the light, and there's a water stain at the base of the light. Yeah. And it came from upstairs.
Came from upstairs.
Yeah. I was like, what the crap? Because I was looking at the sprinklers, nothing was activated. Like, it was just a leak from upstairs.
Describe your sense of relief when you discovered where the water was coming from, as opposed to.
Honestly, I'll tell you what I was worried about the whole time.
Were you proud of yourself?
No, I'm a pretty good detective when it comes to all that. Because there was one time when my ex-wife still lived with me in that apartment. Mm-hmm. Dude, I'm proud of myself on this one. She ordered a bed for one of our Airbnbs that we are going to open up. It was actually for your Airbnb.
Okay.
And the bed got delivered to another apartment in the same building. And that guy who received it, because I actually did some detective work, because I had to, you know how they take a picture of whenever they deliver it?
Yeah.
I went to pretty much, I think you were with me one time, 3 or 4 different buildings. Not floors.
Oh, I remember this.
3 or 4 different buildings.
Yeah. This was slightly more intermediate detective work than figuring out where the water was coming from.
Well, because you
had to run all over that complex, which is big.
Not only that, but I had to look in a blurred background, and I found the front doormat and where the camera or safety lights were located in the background. And I looked at it from the angle. I was like, oh, that's it. And this is a door. So I had to hit his doorbell camera to get a hold of him. And he had actually ordered a bed for his new apartment. And ours was delivered with his. And he didn't even look at the name. He told me he didn't look at the name because he's like, well, I ordered a bed. I thought it was just a part of it. And I was like, and so I had to go pick that up. Anyway, that was my detective work. So I'm not as proud of the water as I am of that one, because that one took a lot of detective work. But I was more
you're still
worried.
having delusions of grandeur, aren't you?
No, I'm a good detective, man.
I'm deep back then.
I pay attention to details. So when it comes to the water, the one thing that I was worried about is those patches that I just got that they ordered for me. I was afraid because it was on the counter. It didn't get as wet as everything else, but I was afraid that was going to like ruin it. So I contacted my rep, and she's like, no, because Michael Phelps wears them, so no, water doesn't ruin them.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay,
that's cool. And by patches, you mean the product that you're trying out, the LifeWave product that you're trying out. Okay.
So that was my morning, other than still seething over this whole restrictions thing that TikTok has our account under for Nick's Right Podcast.
Yeah.
Because a few days ago, I did a check on our account, and it was in good standing. And then I came across a video from Conservative Peach. She's an ex-actress and now does conservative content on TikTok, and she does these skits. And she just had a screenshot of her account check, and it said account restricted, and she didn't have any violations. Their new terms and conditions came out, and ever since then, every predominant conservative creator has been restricted, which means their videos don't get as much visibility.
Well, that's because they hate all things free.
Yeah, well,
all things freedom. And I mean,
there's a lot of conspiracies that come behind that, because they're thinking, like, I've had people come into my comment section whenever I put up my video of my screenshot of the account being restricted, and they're like, no, it's not just conservatives. Like, I only post about sourdough bread, and I'm restricted. You know, and I think it has something to do with if you've done anything to associate with a conservative platform. You know what I mean? So if you've liked a conservative video, if you've posted or reposted a conservative video, if you've added one to your story, so they're targeting conservative content.
So what's the solution? I mean, didn't you open an account on another platform?
I opened up another account. It's called Nick's Right Pod. So it's going to be this. We're going to be putting clips up on that account, but in the first 30 minutes of me posting a video on that account, let me just paint a picture for you. So I upload about 3 videos a day. They get between 200 and 400 views within the first hour, and then it kind of just fizzles out. Yeah, and that's how it's restricted. They don't let you get a lot of visibility. Within the first 30 minutes of this new one that's not restricted, it gets 700 views.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, or close to it. I haven't checked it since then. It was like 680 something.
So are you going to stop hounding on me about getting on TikTok and posting all the time?
No, dude, I've told you so many times, because that's why I asked you to do an account check on yours, and yours is not restricted.
I did 2 TikToks this week, Nick.
You did.
I'm
so proud of you.
TikToks.
But that's not one a day. Now, is it?
No, it's 2 this week.
Okay.
But it's 2 days in a row.
Yeah, but you didn't do one yesterday, which I told you to do.
I really wanted to do one yesterday too, dude, but
because that was funny. That screenshot I sent you was funny.
Yeah. I mean, there's material that I could still do one, I suppose. Go home tonight.
Well, I do want to talk about the one that you did do.
Which one?
Talking about Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What about it?
You did one just to kind of paint a picture.
Dude, I saw that picture. Listen, man. Listen. Okay, hold on. I saw that picture on Jesse Waters.
Yeah. On Fox News.
On Fox News. Okay. He threw it up. I'm not a huge Jesse Waters fan, to be honest with you. But
why not?
Because he strikes me as like a smug, arrogant Republican version of a
Democrat.
Yeah, I was going to say of a Democrat, but I don't want to.
You don't want to
Jesse Waters.
He's so smug and arrogant, but I don't want to insult him by calling him a Democrat.
He is the Republican version of everything I don't like about the left wing. You know what I mean? And that's but
I can understand that.
But I don't disrespect him. Like I respect.
I think you do, because you just said everything that you don't like about him, and it sounds a lot like disrespect.
I don't disrespect. Look, don't tell me how I feel, Nick. I don't internally disrespect him. I internally respect him. Okay. I just
so
externally.
You outwardly disrespect him, but you internally respect him.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, anyway, so I'm watching this and he throws that up. And dude, for like, you know how when you see something real quick and it happens like in a flash, you think it's something, but it's not. You think it's something else, and then your mind goes, oh no, that's A thing, not B thing. I thought it was Beavis and Butthead.
And it was, to give you guys a description, he saw a picture of Biden and Kamala right next to you. The Biden had his blank look on his face, and Kamala had her cackle smile. And he did this video where his whole head is covering up the whole screen. So like all you get is like a whole bunch of Nick Keller.
It's like where I green screened the
Biden, so he could get out of the way.
I green screened the Biden and Kamala, and so it's behind me, and I'm filming this thing with my head intentionally blocking the Biden, Kamala, Beavis and Butthead lookalike. And then as I ask, have y'all ever seen Beavis and Butthead? And I pull the camera away, I get smaller on the screen. Boom! It sort of reveals this. What is it where you have some doppelgangers?
Oh yeah.
Beavis and Butthead have doppelgangers in the real world.
Which is Biden and Kamala.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I agree.
I was like, dude, I gotta post this,
and he did. And it's not doing awesome, but it you have to keep posting to get the kind of traction. But he had one comment come through. Let me paint you guys a picture of how this comment came through to me, because it was the next day that he posted this video, and I'm in the middle of a deadlift, like a deficit deadlift. So my feet are raised, the bar's a lot lower, it's my lightweight, so it's 225. And he's like, Nick, I got my feelings hurt last night. And I was like, really? And I'm like, after I said really, I started to lift. So I'm mid-lift. And I don't know if you guys...
I did that on purpose.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I don't know if you guys know this.
I'm sure I did it on purpose.
But the kryptonite to lifting is laughter.
Is laughing, yeah.
So anytime you start laughing in the middle of a lift, you're gonna lose your strength. Yeah. So in the middle of the lift, he proceeded to tell me the comment, and the comment said, "You're built like a thumb."
This dude said I was built like a thumb. I was like, that is so unnecessary. I corrected him. I had to correct him. I was like, I'm built like a big toe, dude. Big toe. Don't ever call me a thumb.
The dude said, you're built like a thumb. I'm not Republican or Democrat. I just thought you should know.
I know, yeah. So not only did he just throw that out there, he had to let me know he just threw it out there.
So I proceeded... Dude, I had a meeting the other night because you and I are filmmakers. So I'm the producer, you're the writer. So I try to meet people who are either connected to money or have the money. And so I met with this guy named Ryan T. Johnson. He was actually in the first season of The Chosen as an actor, really talented guy, producer, owns his own production company. And we were leaving the meeting. And I told him about this comment that was on your video.
Oh, no. And I don't know Ryan. I've met Ryan one time, dude. What did he say?
The only thing he said was like, and I said this to you as well, you should lean into this. Like, you should lean into this comment and brand yourself this way. It'd be hilarious. Make T-shirts. And this is what Ryan's like. He's like, yeah, you should totally lean into it. You should get, like, T-shirts where he's got, like, a thumb up on it. You know?
That's not a bad idea.
I know, dude.
It's some interesting branding. You know, I've been called these things all my life. When I was a little boy, I was kind of fat. You know, I was a fat kid. Like, just baby fat. I'm talking 4 years old, 5 years old.
Okay.
I had this blonde hair that was just neat.
You had hair?
Oh, yes, I had hair, Nick. All right.
Sorry.
You have a scalp under that hair. Just so, in case you were wondering. Guy loves his hair. He loves his hair. Anyway, okay. Anyway, so the neighbor at the end of the street who was friends with my dad, I hated this son of a bitch. But he kept calling me Towhead. He was like, hey! And my older brother, I had white hair, and my brother had copper red hair. Like, it was just red.
I'm just shocked that you had hair, but...
I did, Nick.
Okay,
I actually had hair. Okay? Oh, and by the way, hair's overrated.
Is it?
It's completely overrated.
Yeah.
I'm a much happier person now that I've got no hair.
Oh, I don't know if I could actually get on that. I mean, when the time comes.
It takes a certain strength of character, Nick.
Oh, does it? Are you saying I have
that's right.
a weak character?
We'll see what your we'll see how your character.
I've had
reacts
nightmares of being bald, dude. Like,
really?
I like
wake up,
dude. I wake up and I like feel. Okay, it was just a dream.
Nightmares of being bald,
dude. You have no idea. Yeah, it's definitely an insecurity. Anyway, go ahead.
That's a trip. Oh no, I'm done. I was just mentioning how whether it's a thumb or a toe.
So this is not the first time
whatever.
you've gotten this comment, but yet you got your feelings hurt.
Well, it's because it was so shocking. It was on TikTok as a comment.
It's the first comment too. If you go to this video.
Yeah.
It was so good. And so I'm in the mid lift, and this happens. I'm thankful I got the lift up, and then I just immediately had to put it down. And then I almost fell on the floor laughing. I was crying so much. And then when I told Ryan and Ryan said what he said, I started crying again because I was laughing so hard.
No, I like Ryan's idea, man. That's not a bad idea.
It's not. Even though it's not his idea, it's my idea, but you just don't want to give it to me. That's fine.
No, okay, no. I'll give you the idea, Nick. Okay, I apologize.
Give me credit for that idea.
I switched credit to the wrong human.
It's
my
okay.
gosh.
I forgive you, man.
But yeah, a thumb with like 2 eyeballs.
Yeah.
And
it should be like this, like right here,
like this.
That's great. So
yeah,
that happened the other night with Ryan, and by the way, we're hopefully going to partner with Ryan.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
In what capacity? Like, what are you?
Well,
talking
his
about?
production crew, and he also has connections to money when it comes to funding movies. And so, since we're doing funding of movies or production of movies a lot different way than Hollywood does, we're not losing any of the quality. And we're spending a fraction of the money.
So when you say we're going to partner with him, you're talking about Aeon.
Well, Aeon is the one that partners with Alliance Studios, and Alliance Studios is who we're technically. Yeah, well, no, Alliance Studios is under the umbrella of Aeon.
Oh, okay.
But Alliance Studios is the production company, and that's who we work for.
So have you talked to the powers that be over at Alliance?
We set up a meeting.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to be introducing him to Josh on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So,
do you want me there? Go ahead and say
no, I don't.
Okay.
No,
right.
why would you be there,
Nick?
Nick? You're a writer, and you keep saying you want to be in these conversations, but you can't be in these conversations as a writer. This is producer work. What would you contribute?
I asked you a simple yes or no.
What would you contribute?
I would contribute if they want to have a creative discussion.
But that's not the discussion we're having.
I'll look good. Dude. I'll sit there and look good. Okay. Look, man. Okay. The problem with you, Nick, is you have no capacity.
Am I too scurrilous?
You're unable to say no.
Am I too scurrilous?
Just no. You're a bit scurrilous, dude.
Word that no one uses, which I'm glad you acknowledged the word that I just used, because we're going to move into that segment. This is the segment of words that no one uses. We're going to paint a picture for you guys why we have the segment, because it's hilarious.
Let me introduce this real quick. I'm a writer, okay? Nick has contracted me to write on projects in the past. And it's a conundrum, because he'll talk about how
by the way, people use the word conundrum, but they use that word. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, in the pantheon of the English language. Write that down, Nick. That's going to be your next word, son. Okay.
Pantheon, is that on there? No, it's not. Okay.
So anyway, but his criticism, he thinks I'm a good writer, and he tells people, "Hey, Nick's a great writer. He's a good writer."
You can look into the camera if you want.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking into it.
This camera right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, do you guys want to do any commercial breaks? In and out of segments?
We can, like, right now.
Yeah.
Like, just break it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do we want to do it coming up, or just say?
Oh, whatever. However you want to break it. Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to, like, finish this segment and then break it?
Up to you.
We'll finish. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
we'll finish. All right. And then what he'll do is get very, very meticulous with his criticism over a single word, as if that single word defines the quality of the work, and it pisses me off.
I'm not saying the single work defines the quality of the work. I know your quality work is high. All I'm saying, and my argument has been the entire time, because guess what? I'm the one that did the freaking audiobook for that book that you ghost wrote for us called Beyond Sight. By the way, it's on Amazon. Look for it, Beyond Sight. Graphic novel's coming out. Make sure you pre-order it. Published by Platinum Studios. Anyway, harmless plug. Anyway, when I was doing the audiobook for that book, and I was the first 3 chapters, this word scurrilous comes across. And anytime there was a word that I didn't know, I had to stop recording, look up the word to see the pronunciation.
I feel so bad
and
for you.
then learn the word and then say the sentence and then start recording again. And I had to do that probably several times per chapter of 43 chapters.
No, you didn't. That's ridiculous.
Now,
Number one.
Hang on. I want to give you credit because some of those words I had to look up because they were Russian words because you were very meticulous in your research when it comes to the story that you told.
Well, thank you.
So I'll give you that credit. But it still pissed me off. And my argument with the whole word scurrilous, because we'll go to people on the street and ask them straight up, do you know what the word scurrilous means?
Oh, here comes a lie. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
And
go ahead.
More than half say no. Now, when you put it in context, the way Nick puts it in context, because he does it overtly.
Well, everything's in context in the novel.
No, it's not.
It is.
And here's why I say that, because I want everyone to be able to understand what's going on.
All right.
Even the mundane or the regular folk that aren't academics, that aren't, writers or something like that. And the reason why I say this is because my dad is one of those people. And he was just listening to the audiobook and he heard a word like scurrilous. And he's like, I can't listen to this. I don't understand what's going on.
Your dad.
My dad.
Yeah. He is not our market at all, dude.
He is a part of our market, yes.
No, he's not. Okay.
Anyway, my argument was write it simpler because you can use another word.
Did your dad buy the audiobook?
I can't remember if he did or not. I think he did.
Okay. Well,
anyway,
what's it matter?
It does matter because you don't want him to listen to it and then just turn it off because he can't understand it. Anyway, then this is a producer thinking compared to a writer's thinking is what you're looking at, because I want to market to a wider audience. Nick's like, screw them.
Okay, see,
I want
that
to
right
write how I'm
there,
going to
Nick,
write, because if they don't understand the word, that's on them.
That right there is where you start to fall away from logic, because the reality
that's leaning into logic.
Okay, well, you just got through saying over half didn't know what the word meant.
Whenever we just ask people,
let me finish talking. Okay, shut up. In other words, if you approach people on the street, over half don't know what it is. That's like, you mean 45% do? Because that's about right. It's about right. We've
all right. So
okay, and they're not getting any context. And I can't use every word to please everybody, man. If you're gonna describe the bad guy, Bill Heyman, yeah. As a scurrilous person, I think people are gonna be like, oh, I know what scurrilous means now.
What would be another word to use other than scurrilous that would explain in the same way that everybody knows?
There's dozens of them.
Throw one out. You're the smart one. Throw one out.
Clever, conniving.
Conniving. People know conniving. People relate to conniving because they know a lot of conniving people. You could even call them a narcissist. That's a buzzword these days.
Okay, but you also have to understand, was conniving already used in that paragraph?
No.
You don't want to do it. Well, I'm giving you an example,
I know
Nick.
you're giving me an example, but the example is flawed because...
You don't want to say the man was conniving and he connived his way into the house and the wife connivingly got her knife. You don't want to do that.
But but I'm saying you still could have used conniving because it wasn't used earlier or after. So you could have used a simpler word.
You see, this is what gives me a headache right
marketed here. To a wider market. Like, it would have appeased a wider market. That's all I was saying.
I think all this
I'm not
really
saying
goes
your
back
word wasn't well used.
I think what this goes back to is you're just bitter. That's all. That's what this comes down to.
You're just bitter. You're just bitter, Nick, because you didn't know the word.
Let's get past scurrilous.
Hang on, because I want to tell you a story about scurrilous. I was actually in a TikTok hole the other day.
Scurrilous?
No, I was in a TikTok hole the other day, and I saw the great Mike Johnson come up on the screen.
Yeah.
You know, what's his position?
Department of...
No. Mike Johnson is the House of Representatives.
House Representative, okay.
Yeah. And no. What's the
I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend
President,
like I do.
Vice President, and then Speaker of the House. That's what his position is.
And he's great, too, man.
And he was having this press conference, and they were asking the questions, and the way he described the Democratic representatives, he said their behavior was very scurrilous.
Thank you.
And I heard that.
Thank
I was
you,
like,
Mike Johnson.
We're going to talk about this.
Yes. And that's the second time that you and I pointed out once, this was months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, where somebody in the government used the word scurrilous. It was like, I don't remember who it was, but remember, I sent you or at least showed you the clip on the phone. It was like, scurrilous.
It couldn't have been the same clip because mine was pretty recent.
No, it was a different clip. But it's like that's the second example where the word scurrilous actually gets used.
I know, but That only started happening like how many months after we had the first argument?
Oh, because
like
you won't let it go?
Months
7 or 8 months.
To
yeah,
a year.
easy.
Like it was a year after we started the argument. This argument's been going on for a long time.
Because you just won't let it go. You won't drop it. You won't just let it die.
Well, since we're talking about that, and this is a part of the segment, we're going to talk. I found 5 words that no one uses. One of them I cannot pronounce. And the meaning of the word is great. Because the word that I cannot pronounce means a long word meaning the act of determining something to be of no importance. So it's the longest word I've ever seen other than the supercalifragilistic, whatever word. And it literally means nothing. It means not important.
Really?
Yeah. And I can't pronounce it because it's so long.
What's it start with?
Here.
I'm going to try to guess it.
Starts with an F. And it ends with shun. Tion.
I have no idea. I'm not going to sit here.
I mean, just try it because it's.
Oh my god!
He got to take his glasses off.
Floccinihilipilification.
and it means of no importance.
That's a made-up word.
That's a made-up word. In the great words of the great Thor. All words are made up.
No words are made up. Man, that is crazy. You know what the longest word in the English language is, though?
Supercalifragilistic.
No, that's not an actual word.
That has to be an actual word.
It's not an actual word.
Well, let's go through the other words.
All right.
This one.
Floccinophilicillation. It's crazy, man.
The next one is pretty easy. I know this one, so if I know it, that means it's a pretty well-used word. It's quibble. Yeah, to argue or object about something trivial, which I think we do a lot of that. We can actually start this.
You do quibble quite a lot.
We do quibble. Let's see. Persiflage. Persiflage.
Whoa. How do you spell it?
Persiflage.
Persiflage. I don't know that one, dude.
Yeah.
I will not use that in the book. If it makes
well,
you feel
it's the opposite. Oh, it's kind of what we do too. It's light and playful banter.
Okay.
Entombed. Pretty sure we all know what that is.
Like in a grave?
Yeah, these are words that people don't use, but yeah, entombed. But the last one I'm really loving because it means excessively talkative, especially about trivial matters. Like everything that we're talking about here is everything that we talk about on the podcast, and it's garrulous.
Garrulous?
Garrulous.
Garrulous. Huh?
And then if you click on the link of this, it gives you 7 English words that nobody uses anymore, but totally should. And I came across this link, and one of them I came across, I was like, we should so be using that word, and it's called morrow.
Morrow?
It's the short version of tomorrow.
Oh, morrow.
And it actually means literally to the morrow.
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't we use that anymore?
That's Old English.
I know, but here's the number 5, and that's a list of 7. And it's the opposite. Let me see if I can see it. It's the opposite meaning of fabulous.
What is? Say it again.
This word I'm about to say.
Okay.
It's the opposite meaning of fabulous. Can you guess what it is?
An antonym of fabulous would be drab, boring.
You're saying definitions. We're talking about the actual word.
I don't know what.
Crapulous.
Crapulous. That is craptastic, man.
Crapulous. And of course, kerfuffle is on that. And then the last one on this list
What's
is...
What's a kerfuffle?
Kerfuffle is...
Give me a word that I don't know that you do, Nick. What is kerfuffle?
You don't know what kerfuffle means?
I'm not real sure. I bet you
You used kerfuffle earlier. How do you not know what it means?
When did I use kerfuffle?
Before we started the podcast, you used the word kerfuffle.
Conundrum.
Oh, you used conundrum. Kerfuffle. Kerfuffle, supposedly derived from Scottish or Irish. Kerfuffle is pronounced kerfuffle and described when someone's making a fuss out of something that doesn't require it.
Kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle.
All right.
But the last one is something that they said, let me see. Beware, this word is so satisfying to say, you'll be silently mouthing it all day. I warned you. So you ready for the word?
Yeah.
The meaning of the word is when someone is so nice and helpful that it seems fake.
Okay.
And it's obsequious.
Oh, obsequious.
Yeah.
I know that word. Yeah.
You know that word.
Obsequious.
Oh, so you knew that word. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that word. So obsequious.
Obsequious.
All right. So that's the end of our...
Interesting. Going back to the the word you said like 5 words ago. Garrulous.
Garrulous. Yeah, garrulous. Okay.
You know what that rhymes with?
Frivolous.
Scurrilous. So there.
Wait, garrulous means excessive talkative, especially about trivial matters. So garrulous and scurrilous could be pertaining to the same person, like Bill Heyman in Beyond Sight. Graphic novel coming out soon.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, that's the end of our segment. We'll go to a commercial break. Nick's Right Podcast brought to you by LifeWave. I just started taking this new supplement called LifeWave. I think it's X36 or something like that, but it's a patch that you put at the bottom of your neck. And what it's supposed to do is activate your peptides to help regrow stem cells. So it's kind of a de-aging type of supplement.
That sounds very European.
Definitely not European.
Wow.
It was actually created by a bioengineer who used to work for the Navy, and they commissioned him to make this patch for seamen who are in the submarine, because they were in the submarine for a long period of time, had no access to sunlight, vitamin D,
all that. Really?
And they needed to give them a stimulant. And they didn't want to use traditional stimulants like caffeine or anything like that. So he created this patch that actually just put oxygen back into the bloodstream. And they said it worked so well that they actually got approached by professional Olympic athletes. And the reason why it works so well is because there was no drugs detected. There's no drugs used.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty good product if that's
I will
all
link
true.
the link of the product in the bio or the description.
Awesome. Now, one question. You said you started taking a new supplement. Is taking a new supplement the correct term to use for a supplement that you stick on the back of your neck?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, that answers
Today is
that
my
question.
second day with it being at the bottom of my neck, and I've actually the first day was kind of weird because what it does is it'll detox you first.
Huh.
Yeah, and then believe me, you have to drink a lot of water through this whole process. But I remember, and I told you this yesterday, that my my session whenever I was going to the gym,
Your striking session?
my striking session was one of the best I've ever had since I've started striking. So
maybe there's something to that.
I'm telling you. All right, so you and I are both filmmakers.
Yeah.
You're a writer. I'm a producer. And our first big movie coming out. Yes, I get tongue twisted sometimes. Is 426. 426. Can we show the trailer, Sarah, on this TV? And then no, you're saying no.
That's a definite no, man.
She got the face where it's like
These
a.
are things I need to learn.
Okay. So if you want to see the trailer to 426, go to just search 426 trailer. You'll see Antonio Sabata Jr.'s face. Great trailer. Movie should be coming out. I am praying it's going to be in May, latest June or July. But we'll see. But it's going to be pretty awesome.
Is it 426 trailer? I think it's 426 movie, isn't it?
No.
On
if you
YouTube?
search 426 trailer, it'll pop it right up.
Okay.
And it is listed
On
as
YouTube.
trailer on YouTube. Yeah. And you can, I think, search the same thing, the 426 movie on TikTok, because we have both the trailers on TikTok. Meta is dumb because they deactivated our accounts. It's really quite disturbing, and I'm very upset about it.
You said both trailers? Is there 2 trailers?
No, on TikTok, there's 2 trailers that are like the real version.
Oh, gotcha.
And then they're
formatted differently.
Yeah, they're formatted differently.
Cool.
Same trailer, but
All right, gotcha.
Anyway,
Gotcha.
So because we're coming out with a supernatural thriller, this is about spiritual warfare inside the marriage. And it's based on a true story about a couple who always lets the sun go down their anger, which that's what the whole movie is based on, which is Ephesians 4:26, where it says, "Don't let the sun go down in your anger." And the whole movie is based off of a dream they're having, where the enemy is attacking them, trying to coax them into getting a divorce. So my question to you is: should Christian horror be an actual genre?
Should Christian horror be an actual genre? Okay, so...
Well, hang on. So the reason why I say that is because Christian and horror are usually not in the same category.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's kind of the consensus when you take a consensus on this question. But the reality is Christian and horror, or Christian horror, has been a genre unto itself for generations.
Okay.
Like, if you go to any top 10 most horrifying movies list, given the top 10 most terrifying horror movies,
right.
number 1 inevitably is The Exorcist.
Okay.
That
I've
is
seen The Exorcist.
Straight up Christian horror. Now, I think the reason that question exists, yeah, no, it's hard. I'm possessed. But it doesn't push a Christian agenda.
Well, and I think that's what we're trying to get at, because 426 doesn't necessarily push a Christian agenda as well, but you can definitely tell where the movie lands.
Yeah.
So, not to give anything away, no spoilers, but The Exorcist, I don't think you can call a Christian horror. I think it leans more on the horror side, because I think there's a big tragedy at the end, if I remember it correctly. Doesn't somebody die?
One of the priests, I think, might die.
Okay, so
but the girl is exorcised of her demons, and we live happily ever after.
Yeah, so you call that happily ever after with the priest dying?
Well, I mean, what horror movie doesn't have someone die and then they live
all right,
happily
no,
ever
that's
after?
a good point. So, but in the sense of a movie having a redeeming ending, but the entire movie is literally grit in your face, demonic, maybe possession, but demonic attacks and all this other stuff. But maybe if it's a Christian horror genre, it will have a redemptive ending.
But that sort of describes The Exorcist, doesn't it?
I wouldn't say it does, because that doesn't necessarily have a redemptive ending.
Okay, that's true. A lot of horror movies don't have any redemption going on at the end. They just end with like either that terrifying music, the sound ping ending, like roll closing credits, or you find out the bad guy's not really dead, or the spirit moved on to another, whatever. I mean, I think if you're going to be Christian horror, you have to have a couple of things, because every genre has tent posts, right?
Right.
Tropes. If we're going to create the genre of Christian horror, there has to be someone gets saved. Right?
Okay.
Which we see in 426.
Okay.
There has to be the redemptive ending.
Okay.
Which we see. Well, I'm not going to give anything
away.
You
already did, so good job.
Yeah, way to go.
We'll cut that out.
And there has to be faith in Christ has to be the solution to the problem.
Oh yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, you can't just kill the monster.
Okay.
You have to
like
have.
It. I like it. So what we're trying to get at is we need to be able to have a Christian genre that has all the grit of spiritual warfare, which you could technically call it Christian horror, but right now, as we're building the genre, because it is a new genre, we're going to have to call it something else, which is why we're calling it a supernatural, thriller. So,
I don't know if Christian horror, though, as a genre, would get a whole lot of traction, because
which is why we switched 426 from Christian horror to supernatural thriller, because we're like, these words don't go together. Because people think of horror as one thing and Christian as another thing.
Yeah, you'd have a lot of churchgoers who enjoy horror. And I don't know how many of those are.
That is a low number.
Yeah, it's a pretty low number.
Dang, that was a good. Yeah, that number. And if it does exist, I question something there. If they enjoy going to horror. Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoy a good thriller, like a jump scare movie. I thought the most recent take of Chainsaw Massacre was enjoyable in that way.
Never seen that, man. I've never seen
I saw
any
it in the theater, dude. Man, it'll make you jump.
Really?
Yeah. Now, everybody says, why the heck are you going into this house that looks freaking creepy? Like, what? I don't understand it. Even if it's in the 70s where they were all like love and peace. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go in a house that looks like,
Not everybody was love and peace. So.
I think about this every time I go out into the country, speaking of horror, I've seen this movie, and I hate that I've seen these movies, because they make me think of these kind of things whenever I go out into these areas of the United States, which is technically a lot in Texas. But if I go out into the rural areas, like country of country, and I see like a trailer house in the middle of nowhere,
you think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I think of Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn?
Have you never seen Wrong Turn?
Mm-mm.
It's where these people take a wrong turn, and in this area are these cannibals. that like hunt people and they eat them. And I mean, the first scene was this chick who's an actress who took a wrong turn, because that's the whole movie. She's on the phone with her agent or publicist or whatever and going down this road, and of course while she's on speakerphone, the phone signal goes out, and you know that's how they start the movie,
of course.
And then she runs over something that was planted there that gives her a flat tire, and then I think
she falls into the cannibal's trap.
No, then someone like oh no, it wasn't that, someone actually runs out in front of her. And she hits the person, and then she freaks out. She goes and tries to give the person CPR, and the guy pulls her in and like bites her lips off.
Yeah. See, to me, that's not horror. That's just gore.
That's just stupid, is what it is.
And gore. This is why I don't like horror as a genre, because I don't like known horror.
Yeah.
And by known horror, I mean when Jason Voorhees is chasing someone with a knife, you know what's going on.
Knife? You mean a machete?
Machete.
Okay, because knife is Michael Myers. Get
is
it
that
right.
Yeah, okay.
Get it right,
Michael
dude.
Myers. Get it right?
Get it right.
Okay. See, I don't mind you correcting me on this because, like I said, it's not my genre. But when we start talking about what it, there's not going to be any correction going on.
Okay. What's your genre?
Well, I'm going to come to that. So I like horror that is, I hate, for lack of a better word, extend your disbelief, like Alien. Like that to me is great horror.
Is that horror?
The Shining is great horror.
I've never seen The Shining.
Yeah, it's great. Like
isn't that supernatural though?
It's supernatural. It's more in your head than in your face. You know.
I've just never had.
And Alien was in your face, but it got in your head because you're. I
rewatched Aliens, dude, and I don't agree. Like it was so low quality. It
Nick, you're kind of an idiot,
I'm
but
sorry.
so
it's so low quality, bro. I can understand.
Alien is low quality.
Yes, is low quality.
I want everybody to mark this moment down in your memory. The first time you ever heard a human being say that Alien is low quality.
No, not low quality as for its time. I'm talking about like the kind of technology that we have now to be able to tell a story like that is vastly more than what they had back then.
I couldn't disagree more,
and it's
bro.
hard for me to look at these old screens that, you know, were thought of back in the 80s and 70s.
Yeah.
I can understand it was before its time. It's a lot like Star Wars. Star Wars, I don't know how they did that when it comes to being ahead of its time, and it lasted through the decades.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The type of technology that they put together.
Would you say Star Wars is dated today?
I still have, like, I'm a fan of the original three, but I have trouble watching them after I've seen the execution of the prequels.
Really?
Yeah. And
That's
it's because.
Just crazy to me.
No. This is my argument, because we all deserve what we got at the end of Revenge of the Sith, which is a lightsaber duel between the two greatest duelers, like lightsaber wielders in the galaxy, of a galaxy far, far away. But we didn't get that at the end of A New Hope. We go.
Well, that's a bit of an exaggeration.
But they could have gone back and remastered just the lightsaber scenes. They could have done that. They have the technology to do that now. We deserve that as fans.
Okay, that's fine. But when you talk about the quality of filmmaking, that's not really quality of filmmaking. Like, those lightsabers look like lightsabers. Darth Vader looked like Darth Vader.
Yes,
you know.
I have a hard time watching it though, just because it's old. Even the remastered, it's still old. I can watch the remastered, but it's old.
Okay, I still say that the Battle of Endor, the space battle in Return of the Jedi, I remember
you telling me this,
is the greatest space battle that's ever been filmed. I think that Rogue One came real close, man. They had some really creative, like, moving sequences going through there and all that. But Return of the Jedi, I have not. It's so sad too, and that movie's 40 years old, and I have never seen a space battle filmed as creatively and as seamlessly as that one that thrills you from frame one all the way to the last frame, dude.
Okay.
And so that's not technology.
That.
That's just creative
that was all
modeling
props.
and
that was all props.
Camera motion and
Well, don't get me wrong. George Lucas was one of the best filmmakers of all time, not our time, but all time.
Oh no,
but
I don't agree with that.
I will say this: when it comes to Star Wars, since I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I love the extra universes that the fans have created for Star Wars. But if I had to say my all-time favorite Star Wars movie, it would be Rogue One.
Rogue One?
Rogue One. Like, hands down. It had me going the whole time, and then it gave us like what we all wanted out of a Darth Vader at the end of it. You know what I mean? Like he wielded,
my gosh.
he wielded it like Anakin Skywalker. He took everybody out. It was anticipated. Like it was.
That is not just my favorite moment for Darth Vader.
Yeah.
That is I've said this before. That is actually my favorite use of a lightsaber.
Oh yeah.
Where he just goes through that rebel hallway,
dude,
just slicing and dicing,
carves him up. Even though he was a bad guy at that time, but. What I don't like are some of the TV shows that came out, especially the Obi-Wan TV show, because Obi-Wan is not someone who suffered from anxiety. I'm sorry. He didn't. He was one of the wisest and best Jedis out there. He's one of the only Jedis that figured out how to become the Force, because not everybody did that. Not all the Jedi Order did that, and he was one that was able to figure it out. He was said to be compared to having the power of Mace Windu and the wisdom of Yoda. I'm sorry, the dude did not suffer from anxiety.
Yeah, I know. See, this is the problem with today's cinema and the changing culture, right?
Oh gosh.
Because what they try to do is they try to take dude, someone can argue this with me, and I will combat them till I'm blue in the face, because I know that this is what they're trying to do. They take all of our heroes from Generation X, take an old millennial like yourself. Mm-hmm. We got Indiana Jones, Captain Kirk, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker, and they ruin them. They take all of these great iconic characters that our culture is based on and turn them into old, broken down Captain Picard, for instance. Raggedy old men who've lost all their hope, and it just it makes me so mad.
Are you talking about in Picard?
Picard, yeah.
Okay, so
the new Picard show.
Well, okay.
Honestly, Nick, I haven't seen. Man, I've heard too much crap about it.
I know, but you haven't watched the last season. I actually just rewatched the last season. And
I know it's all fan service. I know it's all fan service.
But they redeemed themselves because they gave the fans what they wanted.
Well, that's okay.
I mean, and the best character was Worf. I mean, he was a Klingon ninja. They should have done that
from the beginning, though.
They brought back Data. They brought back everybody, dude. It was awesome.
Okay, that's great.
I even got to see Voyager. Like it was just great. Like the Starship Voyager.
Like again, I haven't seen it, but what they gave.
You can't make an argument to it if you haven't seen it, though. Like,
well, what they get. Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
You can argue about anything. Nick, you taught me that. Listen, Linda, listen. So what they did at the end of season 3 apparently is redeem themselves because they knew that their formula sucked and everyone hated it. What they should have done was done that at the beginning of season 1. Give people what they want from the very get-go, and you'd have 3 very successful seasons of Picard that people love and critics like.
Well, they could have kept going too, but he's also getting old. Like he just can't keep acting. But they left it open-ended for his son to take over. I don't know if you saw that. Like his son got visited by a Q at the very end of the season.
Picard has a son?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude. Picard did not have a son.
No. It was after all the movies had ended, and him and it's his
Crusher?
son. Yeah.
Crusher was too old to have babies, man.
It's a future. They could do whatever they want.
That's true.
Even though it's the future, they can do whatever they want, but they still complained about their prostate being too large.
Right.
I'm like, well, you didn't figure something out.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So that's my rant about how culture has destroyed our cinema. But going back to Rogue One, dude, people ask me, so if you took all the Star Wars movies and you ranked them from least favorite to favorite, I think I'd piss a lot of people off because...
don't you dare say Han Solo.
I loved Han Solo. I thought it was a great movie.
Stupidest movie.
But what I'm saying is my favorite would go Empire, Return, and Rogue One. People were like, well, what about the original? What about the original? Dude, I love the original. I love it. But Rogue One came along and they did it right.
Yeah, dude. And I don't know if you know this about Rogue One, but there was scenes that were in the trailer that never made it to the movie, and the reason being is because when they saw the screener, like whoever the executive producer or producer was, he's like, this is terrible, reshoot everything.
Really?
I'm dead serious. And so they got
that's good. Yeah,
they got some,
they had some oversight,
coaches
some Star
in there.
Wars oversight.
I know, it's something that Snow White needs to learn from. But here's my argument. I just made a video about this on TikTok. If Rachel Zegler, I think they can salvage this. Even though the story's trash, they should have just gone with the original story. I think everybody agrees with that. Of course.
But it goes back to what I just got through arguing.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes. But if they wanted to salvage this, if Rachel would actually get on social media and just repent. Oh, If Rachel Zegler would actually get on social media and just repent, in other words, just seek everyone's forgiveness. I'm sorry for I have my own political views. I shouldn't have brought it into the movie. I shouldn't have talked down to people. I shouldn't have ostracized an entire political party. If she would do that and actually humble herself before the entire nation, I have a feeling people would gain some respect and then go support her.
Of course they would. I think you're probably right, but you can't tell a dog to be a cat. You know what I mean? It's like she is a narcissistic, arrogant little twit. There's no way she would do that.
I was not expecting that.
It's true,
you
right?
Can't tell a dog to be a cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
all
of course.
Fair enough. Okay, that. I'm sorry.
So sad. Yeah, I mean, they spent a lot of money on that movie.
They spent, and people are getting the number wrong. It's $250 million production that they spent, and then they spent I don't know how much more. Usually P&A, no, not distribution, but P&A is usually about the same amount of money that you spent on your budget. So it could be half a billion. Is that what it is? $500 million.
It could be. Movie. The highest I've heard was $350 million.
No. The budget was actually $250 million.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
How'd you fit through there? I couldn't fit there.
She little. $250 million with the budget, and then P&A supposedly be double that.
Yeah.
But sometimes they don't always spend that kind of money on P&A. Anyway, a lot of money for it to flop.
Yeah. Oh, the funniest headline I saw on TikTok about Snow White. Let me get this straight, man. Snow Brown and the multicultural
magical beings.
No, yeah. The multicultural Portland hipsters. And if you look at original production photos of that movie, where they got them all marching, they look like multicultural Portland hipsters, bro.
They took those out. They were calling them the
magical creatures.
7 magical creatures.
Yeah.
They took them out. They refused to hire dwarves, and dwarves actually wanted to be hired, and they wanted to be called dwarves because that's what they are.
But they couldn't do that.
Oh, no. Dude.
They couldn't do that
now we're getting political.
Yeah.
Anyway, but if she would have just humbled herself, I have a feeling they could at least salvage their budget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I do believe that they could probably do that if, because that's a beloved title. But I think Disney should just stop cannibalizing all their IP and just come up with something new. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, what's wrong with that? I mean, imagine that.
Dude. All right. We're going to go to a commercial break. That was fun. Talk soon. Nick's Right Podcast brought to you by LifeWave. I just started taking this new supplement called LifeWave. I think it's X36 or something like that, but it's a patch that you put at the bottom of your neck. And what it's supposed to do is activate your peptides to help regrow stem cells. So it's kind of a de-aging type of supplement.
That sounds very European.
Definitely not European.
Wow.
It was actually created by a bioengineer who used to work for the Navy, and they commissioned him to make this patch for seamen who are in the submarine, because they were in the submarine for a long period of time, had no access to sunlight, vitamin D,
all that. Really?
And they needed to give them a stimulant. And they didn't want to use traditional stimulants like caffeine or anything like that. So he created this patch that actually just put oxygen back into the bloodstream. And they said it worked so well that they actually got approached by professional Olympic athletes. And the reason why it worked so well is because there was no drugs detected. There's no drugs used.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sounds like a pretty good product. If that's
I will
all
link
true.
the link of the product in the bio or the description.
Awesome. Now, one question. You said you started taking a new supplement. Is taking a new supplement the correct term to use for a supplement that you stick on the back of your neck?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, that answers
Today is
that
my
question.
second day with it being at the bottom of my neck, and I've actually the first day was kind of weird because what it does is it'll detox you first.
Huh.
Yeah, and then believe me, you have to drink a lot of water through this whole process. But I remember, and I told you this yesterday, that my my session whenever I was going to the gym.
Striking session?
My striking session was one of the best I've ever had since I've started striking. So
maybe there's something to that.
I'm telling you. All right, so I want to ask it's not a random question, but it's a question I saw on TikTok, and I want to ask you guys. Do you remember back in the day when we thought people were stupid because of their lack of access to information?
No, I don't remember that, actually. To be honest, I don't remember thinking people were stupid because they lacked information. I remember thinking, especially once these new technologies came out, like the internet, I remember thinking, my gosh, how did we do this before the internet?
We listened to our predecessors because they were the ones teaching us. That's why we went to history class.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
true.
I mean,
did you know? Like, now it's a Google search away, even though Google is left-wing and doesn't always give you the right information. But
even when it comes to research, I mean, we had to go to places like the library. I remember going to the library in college, for crying out loud. My first stint in college, I should say. I had to go to the library to research the papers that I wrote on King Lear. No, it wasn't the 50s, Nick. Okay?
Sorry.
It was the 90s.
It's where the where they had
90s.
The like the slides that were clear that you put on the the overhead projector
microfiche.
No, it's
the overheads.
Yeah, the overhead projector where it's not a projector, it's like a lamp, and it like mirrors over and then like projects it onto the screen. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean that was our PowerPoint.
Yeah,
It was just
that's how the teacher would like work it out for you instead of going to the board. She had like what were those called? Overhead projectors is what I
overheads.
Yeah, overhead projector. Anyway,
so what astounds me is that we actually did do that though. Like, we didn't not do that because we didn't have the internet. We didn't, there was no cross-reference, and that's just how things got done. I personally think once you put a endless world of information and data and knowledge at someone's fingertips, they actually get dumber. That's what I think. I think because
that's kind of what's happening.
The effort in the search for knowledge is gone. There's no...
Well, it's because no one wants to believe what truth is anymore. You can give them hardcore facts, and they're like, well, that's not my truth. I'm like, screw your truth. If it's not the truth, it's not the truth.
Yeah.
There's your truth, which is an opinion, and then there's the truth.
Yeah. I have a very good friend of mine.
If I hear someone say, that's my truth, I'm like, then you're lying.
Yeah.
That's not the truth. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the secularization of all of our beliefs and values anymore. But a very, very good friend of mine, man of God, loved God. He has since passed away, unfortunately. But he said the greatest tool the devil ever created was the internet.
Ooh.
And when my first inkling was, not really. But if you think about it, all of these platforms that are coming out because of the internet, TikTok, Instagram.
You say it. You want to say it.
Dude.
There you go. That way to abbreviate.
I mean,
way to abbreviate because you can't say the other word.
Yeah, exactly. None of these are designed to create sort of this culture of morality.
Oh yeah.
None of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's designed to create immorality.
Okay.
That's the way I look at it.
Well, I have something to say to combat that because this is what the word says, what the scripture says.
Okay. All right.
It says.
What does the biblical say?
It says in the word that what the enemy meant for evil, he works it for our good. So these platforms can be worked for his glory and his good.
Okay.
OF is kind of a stretch.
I agree with that. The problem is we're not practicing that. We're using it for bad.
No, I get that.
It's
being used for bad, but it's also being used for good.
Yeah.
Because I even have just a straight up biblical channel that I use just to post biblical things. And so that's called Obedience Unleashed, where I just talk about biblical things.
Yeah.
Encouragements, truth, whatever, all based on what the scripture says.
Well, yeah, but
and there are people who, and here's another reach that churches have now because of these social media platforms, because before it was just to their congregation. Now they can record everything and then just put out these clips of their sermons everywhere they go.
Yeah.
So it can be worked for good.
No, it can be worked for good, but basically what you're talking about is the difference between money and the love of money. Like, the love of money is bad, right?
Well, that's
but
the roots of many kinds of evil.
Can be used either way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Money itself is not bad. The love of money is what the Bible speaks against. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So unfortunately, we can have that conversation about anything and everything. Like this microphone stand. Well, I am using this microphone stand the way it was supposed to be used. But if I picked it up and smashed you over the head with it,
did you just have like delusions of grandeur? You just have,
Thank you, Sarah.
Are you going to dream about that tonight where you get to pick up the freaking microphone stand?
That was my favorite moment. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke, dude.
All right, let's move on, man. We've got about
8
minutes left.
That almost segues us into what I wanted to talk about.
Not at all, but you know.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the word again.
Okay. This segment's going to be Nick asking me random questions.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably get through
this
one
is
question.
The Gen Xer Nick asking the OG millennial Nick random questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And this will probably create enough of a conversation to close out the this one question.
This one question? Okay, we'll get to the other ones next time.
In the Pantheon.
Pantheon. The
Write
word
it down.
Pantheon, another word that no one ever uses.
Look it up. Okay. All right, so in the pantheon of dating.
Oh, here we go. Why are you bringing me down this road? I just started dating the love of my life.
No, but you've been through a lot of different women who weren't the love of your life.
According to you, I'm called a Christian whore. I'm sorry. Bleep that out. I'm called a Christian 304.
304. I thought you were going to say slut or something. But okay, so...
is that what you call me?
I didn't call you that.
Oh, because after you read my book, The Journey of the 40-Year-Old Virgin, which is available on Amazon.
Oh, yes, you wrote a book.
Yeah. And I'll talk about all the relationships that I've been through.
Give your book a plug real quick.
The Journey of a 40-Year-Old Virgin. Actually, I don't know if you know about this, but there's a new feature that Amazon just came out with.
Yeah.
This is not a harmful plug for me making money, but you can actually activate AI book reading if you haven't recorded it yourself yet. And then they automatically put it up for you, no cost to you. So it reads your book in an AI voice.
Oh, okay.
I tried it out for the Journey of a 40-Year-Old Virgin. It sounded pretty good. It's a British woman.
Another industry.
Yeah, dude, it sounds good. I tested it out. Anyway, go ahead. Dating.
Okay, in dating, what has happened to the idea of the girlfriend/boyfriend? My contention is that these things no longer exist.
Okay, ask that question again.
In the pantheon. Dun, dun, dun.
What does pantheon mean?
Arena.
Okay.
In the
All right,
world.
thank you.
In the arena. In the world of dating.
Change it, Nick. Change it. In the arena.
In the arena of dating. What has happened to the idea of the girlfriend or boyfriend? My contention is that these things no longer last, or no longer exist.
Well,
I don't think we have. Like when I was a kid, I'll let you answer this question for in a moment. But when I was a younger man, my idea of what a girlfriend was that girl that you structured your time around. Like you went out on dates.
Yes.
And you went out, you talked on the phone every day.
You pursued her.
Yeah. She you and she created this bond.
Yeah.
And one of the advantages to that, if you want to call it that, is sex, right?
I wouldn't agree with that, but okay.
You would not agree with that, but I'm saying
I don't believe sex should be had before marriage, but okay.
Okay. But that was one of the benefits, right? And then a couple of years went by, and I'm
so not agreeing with you.
I saw that. Okay, look at it from a cultural perspective.
I'm looking at it from a cultural. I just don't agree with you. Anyway, sex should not be a benefit of dating. I'm just saying that ruins dating. That ruins relationships.
The reason I'm using sex right now
is
because that is what is defining relationships anymore. It's no longer a benefit. It's what's defining it. You've got situationships where the girls are like, well, I want to be with that boy, but if I get with that boy,
okay, I see what you're getting
I'll
at.
Get that boy. And there's friends with benefits, and there's all kinds of like.
This is why I've been through so many relationships. It's because the people have moved into something like this, and I have girls asking me. Even the girl I'm dating now, she asked me like, "Why are you single?" And I'll tell you straight up, the girls that I've dated don't like it that
they won't stick around.
Well, no, they don't like it that I make them wait till marriage.
Yeah.
And so they're like, nah, it's not for me. I'm like, all right, see ya.
Yeah.
So,
so nowadays the boyfriend girlfriend idea is the one person you're not having sex with. It seems to me like You're out there running around doing whatever.
That's very true. Yeah. When it comes to just the culture of everything.
It's the culture has destroyed the idea of what a boyfriend and a girlfriend were and we're supposed to be. And that's my whole point.
Well, if you had to get my answer on it, it's sex that ruins the label of boyfriend girlfriend, because as soon as a couple starts having sex outside of marriage, which was meant for marriage, sex was meant for marriage. It was not meant for casual dating. I mean, because it was the whole design from God is to become one flesh, and you only do that through sex. So when it comes to that in dating, that's technically the start of the feminist movement. That's what ruined dating. Because it was the start of the feminist movement that ruined that. And it was all about being sexually free.
Yeah.
It was all about destroying the patriarchy. Like that's what it was. So we got political again. I'm sorry, man. But I
accept your apology.
Yeah. Well, I have a lot to say about feminism, but
yeah, so do I. We'll put that off to the next one.
You're talking about dating, Nick, and I wanted to talk about the girl that I'm dating. I'm not going to give her a name, and she's probably never going to show her face, but she sent me a voice message the other day that not only made me fall in love with her even more, but you know how sometimes you just want to find a woman that you could just banter with?
No, but yeah.
No,
keep going.
And I'm having a hard time getting to it because it was like we text a lot. It had been like 3 or 4 hours that we hadn't text. You know, we text off and on. Well, sometimes we text all day. And this is the first thing she sends me after that big gap, and it was in the same day. And this is why I love her so much. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Hey! Where did you go? Where'd you go? Love you.
All right, that's good.
I was like, I love this woman. Because, hey!
Yeah. No, that's a great spirit. She's got good spirit, and she's unafraid, and that sounds like a fun.
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now.
Fun little thing.
Find the best woman. She has to love Jesus. I think she should be obsessed with you. And she has to be a traditional Latina. Because they love their man.
Does she have to speak English?
Until next time. We'll tell you about that, guys, next time. All right, we got 3 minutes.
3 minutes? All right, last question.
Okay.
You're a professional actor.
Yes. Technically, you are too, but okay.
I'll take that.
Okay.
What's your favorite role and why? And why, Nick, haven't you done any stage acting? Are you scared?
Okay. Favorite role that I've done so far as an actor, and you can find this. The movie is on Amazon and it's on iTunes. It was a very short role, but I so love it because of how gracious the director was for me. The movie is called The Place We Hide. You can find it on iTunes and Amazon to rent. It's actually a really well done movie. I think it's about $1 million budget. No big names, but everyone in it is very talented.
Sure, yeah.
So it's about a vigilante who talks the bad people he is wanting to go after. He talks them into letting him kill them, and he does it in a way to where he makes them strip down, and then he just injects their neck with a.
Oh, I've seen this on IMDb. I've seen part of your reel.
Yeah. So it is part of my reel
where foam
because I had one line, but I was what set up the entire movie when it comes to how he goes after people as a vigilante. And I remember on set that my literal character name was Naked Man. That was my character name. So I did it as an actor just to get out of my head because they weren't going to show anything on camera, but I would actually have to be naked in front of people. And the covering they had for, my goods was very small. So therefore people were going to see that were on set with me. But I did it because I wasn't trying to get out of my head, because I'm not going to let that be seen on camera.
Really?
But I wanted to do it.
So you're walking around set with your balls hanging out and everything?
No, I was in my skivvies. I was in my boxer briefs because they let me have a robe, when I'm not working on set. I was a robe anyway. So when they were setting up, but I went to the director of photography and the director and asked them both the same question.
Zoom lens?
No, I asked them both the same question of hey, walk me through this, and then their assistant was like, oh, is this your first nude scene? I'm like, what gave it away? Yes, it's my first nude scene. And so when we sat down and went through rehearsal, because they were both very gracious, like, it's going to be like this. If you don't want that many people in the room, you don't have to. Like, we'll make sure that you're comfortable. I'm like, okay, great. So we sat down. I was on my knees, and we're rehearsing. So I'm still in my underwear. The director leans over to the director of photography, looks at the camera, and sees a shot, and he just simply says, "Oh, that's good. You can say it like that." And I, like, the relief that came over my body.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And the rest of the shoot was great. And I almost had a little bit too much fun, but it was, yeah. And I had to, like, my one line was, I already know why. Because his question was, he lays his hand on my shoulder and he's like, do you want to know why? And I looked to him and I'm like, I already know why. Because he's talked me in, because I'm a bad person. So he when he jabs me, I fall over, and that's when they have the Alka-Seltzer in my mouth, and I'm like convulsing, and the Alka-Seltzer is falling. It actually turned out really well.
Practical effects.
Good real footage. And the reason why I've never done stage acting is because it does not pay enough in Texas. I've been approached to do stage acting, but they only pay you for nights performed, not nights rehearsed. And I'm sorry, when you're in San Antonio and I'm in Dallas, Texas.
So you would stage act?
If the price is right, sure.
$150 a night.
If they pay for
auditions, or for
rehearsals and nights performed, yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
All right.
I mean, I would love to do a musical. I'm a vocalist, so I mean, I would love to do a musical.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah, stage acting is where it's at, I think.
Okay. That is the end of our podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. Nick's Right Podcast. I think I won most of those arguments.
Well, Nick's right, so it doesn't really matter. Peace.